Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Startup Junkies podcast. Thank you for tuning in, whether it's YouTube or wherever you download your podcast. We appreciate you for tuning in. My name is Caleb. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Startup Junkies, Jeff Amerine and Davis McEntire. How's it going, guys?
Glad to be here.
Yeah. Doing well.
Friday Junior, and we've got a glass of whiskey in our hands. Everything's going to be all right.
Absolutely. Not too bad. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we are joined by a friend of ours, and if you are a listener of the show, long-time listener, first-time caller of the show, you might be familiar with our friend Will Trapp. He is here. Will Trapp is the founder of Gratavid. We were just talking about how we've had him on the show before, and we kind of bookended the pandemic because he was here before anybody knew what COVID was, and now he's here when nobody cares what COVID is anymore. Will, welcome back.
Good to be here. Feels like I'm back with old friends.
Yeah.
Post-pandemic, maybe. Or
Yeah.
I guess post-pandemic.
Yeah, we can
Kind of
not here anymore.
Who knows at this
Give a
point?
shit meter's pegged down. Either way.
Yeah.
It's like nobody we know is dying. Who gives a shit? It's all right. So, he says tongue in cheek.
Yeah. Well, welcome back. So a few things have happened over the last couple of years with the world, but also with Gratavid. First, tell us what Gratavid is for those who are just now listening late to the program. What Gratavid is and a little bit of what's been going on.
Nice, for sure. So Gratavid is a tool for collecting and sending personalized videos. I kind of think video thank you cards, mainly used by higher education institutions. We work with like UCLA, Juilliard, MIT, Habitat for Humanity, Teach for America. And really the whole idea and use case for them is just thanking their donors over video. So imagine Caleb makes a $1,000 donation to United Way, very generous of you. They'd use our software to send you a personalized thank you video. And I was talking with Jeff about this a little bit before, but I think when we did my podcast, I had this is what, 2-3 years ago, my first podcast, we all had like 10 paying customers, and no one knew what COVID was yet. It hadn't hit yet. And COVID hit. And I had just pitched United Way. I had a few like local orgs around here. I just pitched United Way. In fact, I pitched United Way in here. I could probably find the video somewhere. It's a funny story why he used to come in here. But I just pitched United Way, and they were like kind of going to buy, it's like, they thought it was cool. But COVID hit. And they called me the next day, or they called me the day after kind of COVID hit, and they said, "Hey, we're ready to move forward. This COVID kind of gives us some initiative to move forward," because they knew that they couldn't fundraise in person anymore. And so, it's kind of weird. Every time I say this out loud, it's kind of weird, but COVID was probably the best thing that happened to Gratavid, because these fundraisers were forced to, change how they did things. And so we were just kind of in the right place at the right time. A little bit of luck, a little bit of hard work, and timed it right.
Yeah.
So a lot has happened.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the recent big news.
Nice. So we got acquired by a private equity firm out of LA, K1. Graduates, the parent company, acquired about a month ago, or finalized about a month ago. It's been going on for like 6 months. Didn't even know what private equity was when I started Gratavid. And I remember my lawyer, Kyle Rose, he said, he's like, start a business to run a business, don't start a business to try and sell a business. And like, I genuinely in my mind never intended to sell Gratavid. I was like, hey, this is just going to be like a small, medium-sized software business, great cash flow, lifestyle business. I'd go play golf on Tuesdays whenever I wanted to. And it was just building a business with great margins, great team, super scalable, great clients loved us. And then this private equity firm just kind of hit me up out of nowhere on LinkedIn.
Really?
And jumped on a call with them, and we made it work.
So they sought you out.
They sought me out, yeah.
Well, what do you think they did? What was you obviously had built a solid business, but why was it a strategic fit? What was going on in the market that made it interesting?
The market was hot. So we had a biggest competitor, currently our biggest competitor, called ThankView. They had just gotten acquired, private equity, same kind of thing, about 8 months prior. So I think that kind of created some buzz in the market, and the market was hot. This deal started kind of in January when multiples are still pretty good. Looking like now I got out at the right time. But that was kind of going on in the market. It's just a good time to be in the market. I think there's people can see the trend of thanking people with videos kind of coming on. And I don't know, kind of right place, right time, and We got it done.
Had you raised any formal capital before that?
Yes.
You bootstrapped
It
the
was
whole
completely
thing, right?
bootstrapped.
Bootstrapped the whole thing. So I own over 90% of the business. My second employee owned the rest. So completely bootstrapped.
That doesn't suck at all, does it?
Right. And then the private equity firm's like so surprised. They're like, wait, are you sure you sent us your cap table? I was like, what is a cap table? I'm the owner's second guy. They're like, you sure about this? And that's, I think that's one thing I want to talk about. When I think startups, when I think most people think startups, like the typical path we see is like that. Come up with an idea, raise some seed round, go to get venture funding, and that's kind of what the media promotes. My theory on that is the media promotes that just because that's all there is to promote. Hey, so and so raised another round. And these bootstrap companies, I'm biased, but I don't think they get enough credibility.
100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree with you.
And it's, I'm biased again, but I think it's the clearest path to any entrepreneur, to make a good amount of money or financially stable, whatever you're going to call it, get rich, whatever you call it, is to try and bootstrap your business for as long as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Like maybe we could have gone a little longer and eventually raise a round if we needed to. But man, if you can just bootstrap your business, put you in so much more control, set your own terms, and it was the best thing that happened to us. So bootstrap, baby.
It's the media, it's
Bootstrap,
entertainment.
baby.
Like it's people that have watched like Shark Tank for the last 10 years.
Yes.
And they're like, I have
Yeah.
to go pitch investors in order to build a business. Like we'll get emails. I'll get emails to the team account, and it'll just be like, I'm starting a, office cleaning service. It's just one person. I need $250,000.
Right.
Why? Like you need a bucket. Like why do you need to take on? Like,
A lot of times, and I'm an active early stage investor, probably a portfolio of 90 investments across funds and whatnot. And a lot of times when entrepreneurs come in, I always ask, is there any way possible that you can do this without raising outside capital? Because once you get on that venture capital treadmill, you're on it until they tell you to get off.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got all the options, build it on the back of having a great product that you can actually sell. And you can't, the other litmus test I give is if you're going to miss a market opportunity, if you don't raise capital, then raise.
Yeah.
If you aren't, you've got the time, then do it without raising capital.
For sure. Yeah, in my opinion, there's kind of two kinds of software companies you can think about creating. You can create something like Gratavid, where it's a small kind of niche, good size market.
Yeah.
Probably a $50 million, $100 million market, or you can trade something like Acre Trader.
Right.
If you're doing Carter's doing, that's competitive, massive market.
You got to do it.
You have to raise.
Different
Right,
deal.
yeah.
Totally different deal.
Yeah.
And so, someone's listening to this thinking about what kind of company do I want to start? I'm biased, but I just think it's so much easier to find that little niche where maybe there's a few competitors in the market you can compete with. Get in with that, kind of position yourself against them, get a good clients, get a good revenue stream. And if you can retain as much of that business as you can, so much more likely to have a positive exit. It's going to have a huge impact on your life doing that versus trying to hit the next unicorn. Not all partners out there.
I think that goes over a lot of like wannabe entrepreneurs' heads too. Maybe they want to start their own business, but they're like, I don't have this like unicorn idea. I don't have this multi-million-dollar idea. But find a niche, exploit it. Maybe there's a few competitors. Maybe you're the only one. But yeah,
See a problem,
that's a
solve
great
a problem,
point.
right?
Yeah,
See a problem, solve a problem.
And not even that. That's such a good point. When you think startups, you think you have to be innovative. You think you have to create the biggest idea.
Right.
I kind of got lucky and I didn't realize what I was doing, but I didn't create an idea. I realized that there was one competitor in this market I was in, video thank you cards, huge competitor. I thought they were charging 3 times 4x what I thought was fair. And so we just attacked them. Like, what was my idea? But we built a really good product.
Fast follower strategy, right?
Exactly.
They were already kind of out there, and you beat them with the equivalent or better product that was lower price.
Exactly.
Smart.
Because then you don't have, it's so hard, or at least my opinion, kind of like what you alluded to. It's so hard to find product market fit on a brand new product. It's really, really challenging to do, or at least in my opinion. But if you know someone's out there already selling it, they've already proved product market fit for you. So you can just go and ride their coattails. It's such a better chance of success of doing that. Be comfortable, like, hey, I was fine being number 2 all day long. I'll be number 2 in this category all day long. And that's such, to your point, such a not a common way of thinking about it. You think like you gotta be the leader, you gotta like invent something new. So man, find a competitor, find a market, attack them.
And to you, if I understand correctly, you like stayed with your previous employer while you were building this out too. So like if you can have somebody else pay you while you're building a company, there's
A side hustle to exit.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, let somebody else pay you to build another company.
For sure. And just, I think in order to bootstrap some software, you got to learn to code. So I studied business marketing. Actually went to school, wanted to be an engineer. I failed computer science freshman year. I was like, well, let's do business marketing. So we did business marketing, but then I moved to San Francisco with this agency. Kind of got the bug out there going coding, taught myself to code. Really did that for 7-8 years, just coming up with different ideas and those failing, but learning to code. And then that gave me some technical chops. So then at the agency, I had some technical chops. I kind of built their dependency on my platform. So they couldn't let go of me completely. But I negotiated with them like, hey, I'll continue to maintain these things if y'all support me. And then I'd written approval to go start Gratavid.
Wow.
So you're right, man.
That's awesome.
I floated part-time and get things going.
That's the way to do it right there.
And then also, you got to give props to companies that are like willing to let folks kind of pursue, whether it's something super innovative or like kind of a fast follower approach, giving an employee the flexibility to be creative because that creativity will manifest in the workplace to their benefit.
Absolutely.
Half the time at least.
Yeah, because I was doing that part-time thing for almost 2 years at Saatchi, and things I would go learn, like how to send a text message via an API via Twilio or SendGrid. I'd bring that to our clients at Procter & Gamble. I'd be like, hey, we can add a form on a Walmart landing page. When you submit it, it texts you your diaper size or something. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And I mean, some ad for Saatchi and Saatchi X. I love them. I'll forever feel indebted to them for kind of supporting me through that endeavor. So yeah.
And they're more than welcome to sponsor the show, too.
Please reach out.
Reach out.
You just cover our whiskey budget. It's fine.
You know what? Companies that want to stay relevant, they've got to embrace the fact that they're going to have entrepreneurial people if they want to continue to maintain competitive advantage. And those entrepreneurial people are going to have side hustles going on. They just are. Embrace that. It's better than having, a bunch of autonomic, stale drones that are waiting for orders to be issued. You're out doing stuff.
Right.
You're learning.
You can't be innovative without somebody like your mindset or the entrepreneurial. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
But you need them both.
You do.
Right. Of course.
You got to have people that are happy and totally
Just to
content
kind
to
of turn the crank on stuff, no doubt.
People leading the charge.
So you've gone through that whole acquisition process, and you say it took about 6 months to get through, and due diligence search, including probably strip search and body cavity and that whole thing. They want to know everything about you when they're going to acquire you. I'm sure. But talk about the ups and downs of all that and how that's gone.
Yeah, if I
to the extent you can, without giving away anything.
Yeah. I mean, if I could do it again, they kind of get you saying, like, hey, here's what we're going to do, and then they make you think about it for a while. Like, if I could do it again, I would just know that I can't get on a phone with private equity unless I'm ready, 100% ready to sell my business. Because once you get kind of going down the path of them, then like you think, you stop talking to them. They're like, hey, we could structure the deal this way. And then you're like thinking about, what house could I buy? And so that's creeping in your mind. And so anyone that's thinking about doing it, like be ready to sell your business before you get into a conversation with them. Mine worked out great. But if you weren't ready to sell it, they'll talk you into it, so to speak. But I didn't realize how long it took. So we started talking in January, and then the deal finally closed in May.
Wow.
And so it's so long of negotiation and then due diligence. I didn't realize it took so long. And I was like, let's sign this and we're off to the races. But they look at everything.
Yeah.
I mean, every contract I've ever had, they called 100 of our customers. Wow. They reviewed our tech stack. Like they're, in the beginning, they're like, I love you. You're so great. Like, your code's amazing.
Yeah.
Then they get into due diligence.
What's wrong with him?
They get into due diligence. And some people had warned me about retrading, which I wasn't familiar with. It's basically when they offer a number, then they say like, your code's missing this, or this contract's not good enough, so they'll come down the offer. Thankfully, K1, love you guys. No retrading.
That's good.
So they stuck to their word. But my lawyer did a good job of preparing me for that. He was like, be mentally prepared for them to change an offer based on due diligence.
Good endorsement for Cal Rose from Lindsay and Jenny, who does actually sponsor some stuff here.
They've been good the podcast sponsors before.
He's a great lawyer.
Yeah, it's good having his experience going through all this. But a long process.
And so you're tied up for a while. You've got a period where you stay with them. And how's all that integration been? Talk about that a little bit.
So kind of got like a bonus period. I mean, you hit some numbers, get a little bit more bonus. The integration period was pretty tough at first, to be honest with you, because they're coming in, they're trying to, they're on the clock from their investors. They're trying to maximize it as quick as possible. I think at first I was like, oh, this is my baby. Like I was always conscious of being the founder that's like, you know, they're going to change. Like I was at peace with them changing stuff, and even being conscious of that, it's still tough to relinquish some of that.
Yeah.
But then you just start to realize like, man, this is a very smart, just a very smart organization you're dealing with. And like they've done things like this. This isn't their first acquisition. And so you start to just trust them and really learn to get out of the way where you can. So learn where you add value, like what's not worth fighting, and really learn to get out of the way to kind of help, you know, all hit your goal and hit those end numbers. So at first it was tough, but lately it's been really good. And then the thing I didn't realize too about private equity, and I imagine this is the game most of them play, is just this multi-product strategy.
Yeah.
You pay attention on much, you see like Zoom. You know, Zoom just did webinars. Now they're adding like Zoom phone.
Whiteboard and all that stuff.
Exactly. And then the reason is because you have net revenue retention, NRR. Y'all know this, but you know, you're trying to say, okay, Caleb gave me $1,000 last year. How can I make him give me $1,200 this year? You can index him. You can say, hey, he's going to charge 5% more each year, and that's fine. But really, to make a big dent, you got to have different offerings. You got to be able to offer Caleb phone and whiteboard and all that. And so that's where, from a private equity perspective, they go out and buy these companies and group them in. It's genius strategy.
Land and expand.
Exactly.
And you build pipeline either through building it or acquiring.
Exactly.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And you know, some people, we've had a huge growth already from them acquiring us 2 months ago. So my friends are like, oh, like you're regretting selling. I'm like, absolutely not. Like they're so much, you know, they're able to grow the business so much faster than they ever could because they've got these pipelines, because they've got, you know, these strategies and these other products. So it's been cool to see all this kind of come to fruition.
Yeah.
So maybe one day I'll be a CEO of a multi-product company.
You think you do that, or you spin something up new again once you get past all this and through the startup? You probably got 10 more ideas cooking, right?
Well, definitely. I'm gonna try and I'm studying a lot on storage units, real estate. Just try and
those things are cash cows
for sure.
Yeah. Cash cows.
I mean, you don't know. They say real estate's the best way to multiply money. So been studying a lot of that. I'll definitely do some real estate. But I mean, it's just software. It's golden ages, or it feels like we're in the golden ages, and multiple of the way they are. Just feels like I'd be dumb not to try and spin up something different.
Yeah.
But if I do spin up something different, I'm going to take your advice. I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel. I'm looking for categories. Maybe there's only one or two competitors. What I know now is I'll look for companies that aren't founder-led anymore. So I'll look for companies that maybe private equity has bought. Just because I remember me as a founder, like I was working 12 hours a day easy and having fun with it. You know, it's just something different about a founder-led company. So we'll see if I can find that. Then I'll do something like that, but no rush. I'll definitely take a year or two off.
Stretch your feet, man.
For sure.
Go get a tan.
Spend a year down the Virgin Islands, or you know, whatever else before you spend on.
Well, I'm having a kid in July.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That was another big deciding factor, so to speak.
Put a little bit for the scholarship fund and a little bit for Startup Junkie endowment.
Podcast sponsorship here.
It's taking exiting entrepreneurs.
I mean, I hope y'all. I think I started this, or I alluded to this, literally.
The Arkansas Inc. podcast provides an in-depth look at the latest industry trends in Arkansas from decision makers, business leaders, and executives. The Arkansas Inc. podcast has focused on a range of business and economic development topics, including small business and entrepreneurship, international business, fintech, workforce development, and community development. Each episode, which are about 30 minutes long, features business leaders and subject matter experts in conversation with knowledgeable members of the AEDC team. Recent guests have included Governor Asa Hutchinson, UAMS Chancellor Dr. Cam Patterson, Conductor Managing Director Dr. Jeff Standridge, and representatives from companies including Amazon, Walmart, IBM, Ozark Integrated Circuits, and more. The goal of the podcast is to help provide more information about Arkansas and its strong business environment to help business owners and executives make the decision to move to or expand in Arkansas. The Arkansas Inc. podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and other podcast apps. Just search for Arkansas Inc. To learn more or subscribe to Arkansas Inc. podcast, visit
arkansas.edc.com/podcast.
I started my business before COVID when, probably hard to remember now, but you kind of had to feel like you were in an office. It gave you that sense of like, we're an established company.
Yeah.
And so I built Gratavid out of my guest bedroom, and I was pitching United Way in these companies. I couldn't put my guest bedroom in the backdrop. So I would come up here, and I remember talking to United Way, Frank Mumford in that corner, who was my second employee, by the way. Just to give me that kind of professional look. University of Arizona Athletics, I remember talking to them right there, just to give me that professional look. And then COVID hits, and everyone's working from home, so now I can just do my demos at home.
Right. Yeah, I remember you being here like quite a bit during that period of time, like either out here or in there or wherever else.
Yeah, just had to have that. I guess I thought it'd give me more of a professional, established look. Yeah, and then COVID hit, and everyone's like, "You work from home?" I was like, "Yeah, we're all working from home." It's just me in there.
What are some of the, from a category standpoint? What are some of the most surprising new customers, kind of by category, that have rallied around the platform?
So we knew fundraising would be big.
Yeah.
Like university fundraising, that's our biggest by far. Churches has been a really big one.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
What's the word? I can't think of the word for these kind of new modern churches that are non-denominational. But they use Gratavid because they'll send you a personalized video if you visit their church. So it's like, imagine Jeff, you and your family go visit a church for the first time.
That's interesting.
They use
Do
our
the little
software.
communication card.
Yeah, exactly. You fill that out, then you get a personalized video from the pastor being like, "Hey,
Interesting.
it's great seeing you." So that's a big one. They kind of snuck up on us. Admissions was a big one. So
College admissions?
college admissions. they'll send you a
Thank you
personalized
for
video.
applying. Wow.
Yeah, high school admissions as well. And then even HR. So we worked with American Psychological Association, big fundraising organization. They don't use this at all for fundraising. Their HR team uses this for like happy birthdays.
Interesting. So employee engagement type stuff.
Yeah. Pandemic kind of
Interesting.
for them.
I can totally see that.
Yeah. So that was the hard thing too. Remember talking to you, Caleb, early on. It's like, I can see so many use cases, and that's the trap of startups. It's like, do you do everything or do you go all in on one thing? And luckily we focused in on one thing and kind of made that work. But that's the trap. It's like, we can cater to everyone, and realizing you really got to focus in. Or at least I think that worked for us.
How big was your team right before
3 of us
acquisition?
total. So we had me.
Wow. So you got into acquisition with 3 people.
Yeah. Me, engineering.
This is what you call a statistical outlier. For those of you that have studied probability statistics, it's amazing.
If you can write your own code, it takes a long time. Look, it's like, they sold overnight success. Literally teaching myself to code for 8 years. Then that just gave me such a strong team, and then I could go out and hire a really good sales guy. Yeah. He got some equity, so he was really motivated. He had a great payout. And then we hired someone. Man, we wanted to hire someone. He's sales. We wanted to hire someone for kind of training, onboarding. Right. We interviewed people from like Duke, North Carolina, these like nice big Ivy League schools. And then we interviewed someone from Northern Michigan. It was like blue collar background, but just like a grinder, and we hired her just because she had like skills. Some of these Duke people,
folks she's
Duke people had Duke people had good degrees, but they hadn't really didn't have any skills. And we hired the Northern Michigan person, and she's a rock star.
Yeah,
she has been crushing it for us.
Don't worry about those Duke nerds. So, have you had the Ole Miss baseball team do videos to send out to the boosters and foundation donors?
So they're a big client. They were one of my first clients.
I remember that
relationship. They do it a lot for donors. I need to check in with them. They should have sent some from their off. They were smart.
What a year! Ole Miss wins the college baseball World Series, and you guys exit. That's
pretty. And having a kid.
That's pretty badass. That's a trifecta of goodness right there.
I know. I'm kind of pinching myself.
Not that we're bitter about Ole Miss beating the Razorbacks. That's all right.
Hey, we beat them once. Well, that's a feather in our cap after that. After that run they went on.
Yeah.
What's next? And we kind of alluded to that just a little bit, but like...
Yeah, I really don't know. We bought 8 acres of land down Mission, like 12 minutes from downtown.
Nice.
Debating being my own general contractor, building my own house. Taking 2 years off doing that. Just hiring subs out. I don't know. We'll see.
That might cause your head to explode. Because finding skilled trades is...
Yeah.
The skilled trade these days is... I know what a hammer is.
Yeah.
So, and I can show up occasionally.
Yeah, that's what's
They'll be
good.
there. They'll show up Monday, not Tuesday.
Well, I mean, it's
tough.
Just like I taught myself to code, I took a course online. I found a course
Well,
for
hell, you can do it.
Help build your own house.
You can do it. I
You
gotta
sort
tell
of
you.
supplies to build it yourself.
I'm getting set up. There's a course online, of course. Of course, for everything. It's like, how to work with subs. Here's your checklist. It's like you get your build site. You need a table and your blueprint on it. It's like set the mood early. If there's a board less than 2 feet, you just put it in this stack. If it's greater than that, you put it in this stack.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go. What else do I need to know? Who knows?
You really can learn anything with online courses, can't you?
It's pretty true.
Yeah.
It really is.
So who knows?
What do you think? What do you think a good advice for wannabe entrepreneur? Maybe doesn't know software or something like that. Obviously, go take coding courses. But is there anything else that you could tell them? Hey, I did this wrong, or I did this super well.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, really, even before I started coding, I was figuring out how to run Facebook ads, TikTok ads, Snapchat ads.
Yeah.
And I think if you just have that skill set, one, you get a great job in an agency if you have that skill set. And that's like, you get a business marketing degree, like, what does that really mean? But if you can go into a job interview or startup, whatever, it's like, I can run Facebook ads, I can get you leads, LinkedIn ads. I mean, I would start there because you can add value to any business. I mean, Startup Junkies, you guys are probably been running ads. And then I started there before I even got into code. And then when I started this business, it's like, okay, now I can do the code, but then now I'm buying Google ads. So going back to my strategy of, don't try and be the market or start a market, just try and be in the market. When you better bet, when anyone Googled my competitor's name,
You popped up.
You got to.
That's key. That's key. You want to be first on the list, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
And that was huge. I mean, that's how we grew, really. And that's probably the most effective strategy we ever had. And just knowing how to do that. So it's like start with the skill set. That's what I tell people. That's what I told my cousins that just graduated. It's like get skills, because skills just make you so much more marketable. If you can go into a job interview or startup, whatever it is, it's like you can buy those ads for you. Then so much easier to hire you. Or you start your own thing down the road. You got those skills to where you can buy those competitors keywords. But try and learn the code.
And that's how you exit or get acquired with 3 employees.
For sure.
You learn how to wear 50 hats efficiently.
The thing about it is, if you can be CEO and you're also the chief software architect, this is a huge advantage. That's what I tell. That's what I tell when I teach new ventures. It's like you have to have somebody on the team if you're going to build something that's relying on technology that can actually build the technology. If you're relying on a third party, one, you won't gain any investment, and two, it'll take you way longer.
For sure.
So that's a huge advantage for being able to do it yourself.
And then, when you are that and you're one person, I'm the one in the corner selling the United Way, and they're like, "Oh, we need this feature." I go home, I build that feature.
Right.
So you have to go ask somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so
that's a great point.
The whole role of product.
Yeah.
Which, I hate the product role. It's a separate story, but their whole role is to talk to clients and then middleman that back to engineers. Like, I removed that whole equation.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally hearing directly from customers on sales calls. Like, if you had this feature, then we would buy. So then you go out and build that feature, and you reach out to them like, well, maybe not, but the next time you demo someone, you show that feature. And they're like, yeah, that's amazing. We need this one feature, and you just keep kind of iterating and just building it. And that's another thing too is a popular startup advice is like build for the problem you have, which I agree is probably good advice. I didn't take that advice. And so if you don't have that, if you're not building for your problem, then I would say get to selling as quick as you can.
Yeah.
Because they'll tell you what you're lacking, and then you can go and you can iterate on that. You can get that feedback. It's the easiest way to get feedback.
It's really customer discovery augmented with a beta version of the product, so you can find out. And that works particularly well when you're technical and you can do the quick iteration.
Exactly.
That's really sage advice.
Because some people are like, well, I don't know who would want to test this, or I don't know who to get feedback from. It's like, dude, go try and sell it. They'll tell you exactly. They'll tell you exactly.
That's right.
What you need to do.
No doubt. No doubt.
So yeah.
Yeah, you want to lead a workshop for us?
Dude, that's really the formula. It's like learn to code, or maybe I think you could find someone that could probably partner with you if you didn't want to learn to code, but don't try and innovate and build something new. I mean, you can't do that. I think it's rare. It's really hard, but find a market where there's not many competitors. figure out if you could price kind of around them, or maybe price a little bit lower to differentiate, and go out and build that, go and compete with them. Position yourself. I thought a lot about Coke versus Pepsi when I was kind of building Gratavid. Like I said, like I'm happy being Pepsi all day. I just want to position myself as an alternative to that Coca-Cola. So if you can do that, then there's a lot of markets out there.
Yeah, Pepsi ain't broke.
Right.
They need some money.
Not even close.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if you could, one of the ways that we like to kind of land the plane, if you could roll the clock back. So now you've got this PhD level experience and having gone from side hustle to exit. If you could roll the clock back 5 years, go in that time machine and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give?
Oh man, honestly, I mean, it's hard to change anything, to be honest with you. So my first startup, my last thing, Will, I can't remember if I think we talked about with y'all, this was 5 years ago. I was so worried about failure with my first startup that I didn't want to tell anyone about it. I didn't want to talk to anyone about it. I didn't want anyone to whatever, steal the idea. And then with this one, I was like, I'm freaking telling everyone. If it fails, I don't care. Right. I'm telling everyone. So just being comfortable with that failure and know that it might take a couple of iterations or a couple of businesses to get one to hit. But you're just going to learn so much along that way.
Yeah.
Learn like how to deal with we had to get approved by the Social Security Administration for this My Last Name Will one. And I was like, I don't think I can do that. Of course you do it. And then Gratavid, you got to get approved by UCLA. Like UCLA was like our 10th client. I was like, oh, I can't freaking clear UCLA security. It's like a freaking form. Anyone can clear it, or maybe not anyone. But you just get comfortable and realize that, it's just people you're dealing with, and you really can get through anything. But be afraid to fail, and be afraid to get your idea out there, and be comfortable getting failure and
being okay with it. And small failures on the way to success.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing about taking qualified risk and realizing you're going to take a few knocks in the head, but the people that win are the ones that keep grinding.
Right.
They just keep grinding. They don't give up.
For sure.
And you're a good testament to that.
For sure. So, Bootstrapping. Well, I think that's one maybe nice thing about Bootstrap is like, if this doesn't work out, if I don't get some money this month, like there ain't no money. Yeah, money to fall back on.
Yeah, ain't nothing.
And
it's a motivator.
For sure. And I feel like maybe if I was venture funded, I feel like I could throw money at problems, or I could kind of keep pushing back like product market fit, or if this feature didn't work, I could just throw some money at it. Whether you're bootstrap, man, you got to be scrappy. You got to figure out things the right way as fast as you can. So yeah, I'm a testament. I'm bootstrap for life, baby.
I love that.
Team bootstrap.
And the reason why it's rational is only something like 0.6%, less than 1% of all the ventures that are out there actually get institutional venture capital. So a lot of people are conditioned to play for a game they're never going to be able to play for. So just build something you can sell, and build a great venture, and you're not going to have all the aggravation of dealing with a bunch of knuckleheads you don't really want to deal with anyway. So, and not that venture capital is bad. I'm in that game, but I'm just saying, the happiest people I know, I mean, nobody's smiling bigger than this guy. The happiest people I know are the ones that own the vast majority of their business at the time that they decide to sell it. So it's good on you. It's a good example to set.
Nice. Let's go, baby. But it's hard from y'all's perspective. It's, how do you get visibility into those bootstrap businesses? It's easy to promote, hey, someone raise a round because the venture funds are putting the press releases out and all that. So it's like, how do we as a culture, promote this idea of bootstrapping more?
We blogged about some of that too. I can remember, I've said it on here. It's like we're celebrating the wrong things. Celebrate customer sales and new customers. Don't celebrate raising money. That can be a necessary evil, but if you've actually solved a problem the customer's willing to pay for, that's something to celebrate.
Let's go.
So a lot of this has been perpetuated by Silicon Valley and the whole romance of, we raised this much money. It's like, and you've never made any money either. I mean, you're still not putting money to the bottom line.
Yeah.
So I love it. We need more of that kind of turn the crank, the micro mindset is the blue collar building of durable, sustainable businesses, like exactly what you did.
Yeah.
So
I love it, baby.
and we're probably not going to get an endorsement from Mr. Rowe, but I love it. It's a dirty jobs way of building durable businesses.
Yeah, for sure.
It's awesome.
For sure. And there's two ways. We talked about it. You can raise money, you can bootstrap it. There's just two different ways to go about it. I just think your chances of success are so much higher of getting a good exit if you can figure out how to bootstrap that for as long as you can.
And just kind of square it with the fact that there's not the kind of there's not the amount of venture capital available in Arkansas there is in Silicon Valley. So it's like you're
Right.
And not just here, but anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like you talking about playing a game you're never going to even like be able to take the field on.
Yep.
Even more so because of that. And so you're kind of disadvantaged from your mentality and the landscape.
Exactly.
So being prepared for that as you step out on that limb.
Yeah.
Well, as part of are you maintaining the brand? Is it still going to be Gratavid?
So we're keeping the name,
Awesome.
but they're changing the logo, the icon. I thought it would be a sensitive subject, but actually, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the new icon.
Cool.
Glad the name's changed.
So, but if our listeners want to find out more about Gratavid, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, gratavid.com.
Awesome.
Check it out. Tell your friends.
And if they want to reach out to you, and some of them might, they get you through LinkedIn, what's the way they could reach out to find out more about your journey?
I'm on Twitter all the time.
Awesome.
Yeah. And if anyone's not on Twitter, you're on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter. I'm
on Twitter.
I'm like in the corner, like
Right.
you know,
I'm a stagnant
I don't tweet
Twitter
stalker.
user.
These guys are peeping toms on Twitter.
Right.
Yeah.
I tweet best bar JJ's every year though for the barstool
Retweet a few
competition.
things.
Well, Twitter's, a secret weapon, because especially as teaching yourself to code, the brightest engineers are on Twitter, and they've got 5,000 followers, so they love getting questions. And so I can literally ask someone that helped develop JavaScript or specific API, like, hey, can I do this? And like, oh yeah, man, do it like this. It's like literally get feedback.
That's a genius.
That's an interesting
very
hack.
smart.
All my friends make fun of me because they follow me on Twitter, and it's just like asking coding questions. But it's crazy.
Well, it's
free,
efficient.
free advice from
You probably can't send something to TikTok to say, dude, what do you think about this, right? To have them go all the way to China.
But you can find the engineers.
like a burner
some of the
account.
engineers
There
on
you go.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Make a burner account. To do that. I had to make a burner account for all the trash I talk about baseball. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Don't want to get shadow
they
banned.
make it private when I became executive director.
And you do talk some trash in sports.
do.
Come on, he does, man. He throws down on people. It's like, oh, God. That's rough. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's great.
It was great catching up.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank y'all for all
We're
you
proud
do.
of you. We're
Thank
really
you.
proud of you.
Y'all are part of the Gratavid story. Y'all saw me up here. I literally sold 10 people on Gratavid. If it wasn't for y'all, I'll talk a little dirt on the Entrepreneur Hub. They wouldn't let me in because I'm an Ole Miss guy. You have to be an alumni.
Really? No way.
Y'all were booked. Y'all do books on there. So I was like, I'll try to go in there. And they're like, no, dude, you got to be an alumni. I was like,
wow.
F y'all.
We open our doors. We're like the Ellis Island for startups. Anybody that wants to come here, we'll help them.
Non-discriminatory.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We're still getting folks mail that I've never seen before.
Hey, keep building great stuff, will you?
Let's go.
We're
baby.
proud of you.
Bootstrap.
It's a fantastic story.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you guys. It's fun.
The Startup Junkie podcast reaches over 100 countries and has had over 100,000 downloads. If you're interested in reaching some of the most motivated and engaged innovators and entrepreneurs on a worldwide basis, give us a shout.